Hello, and welcome to Toastmasters in the Community. I'm your host, Fran Okeson. With me today is Ken Raftery, and we'll talk to Ken in just a minute. I'd like to just thank my crew for coming. After the blizzard that we had last month when we were taping, I am surprised that anybody trusted us to come back again this time. So anyway, I'd like to just bring you up to date on the plans for our March 4th taping. As I started to say last month, we're celebrating the 90th birthday of American artist Gregory Perillo. Greg will be here. We've been celebrating his birthday every year for the last several years. His wife Mary is a valued member of our Women's Club of Tottenville. And we have a surprise. I brought a couple of pictures in. I'm going to ask our director to please show the picture of Gregory, who calls himself a crazy horse. May we have that picture up on the screen, please, Isaac? All right. If you have reason to call Gregory at home, he picks up the phone, he goes, "Crazy horse." And many years ago I said, well, if you're a crazy horse, I guess I'm Pocahontas. So that's how we greet each other. The other picture I'd like to show is he doesn't just paint American Indians, he paints important actors, actresses. Here's a picture of Marlene Dietrich, which he recently donated to a museum in her honor. Can we have that, Isaac? There's Marlene. Isn't that beautiful? It's a beautiful red costume. And that was hanging in his home, and this is a picture that my son took when he went to the house a long time ago. At the beginning of our second show today, I'll be showing two more of Greg's pictures just to show the versatility of this wonderful, wonderful American artist. So Ken, just to introduce you, you're a member of two clubs. You're in the No Limits Club, and as your secondary club, you're in the Smedley Speakers Advance Club. And you are a calculus teacher. Last time it took you almost your whole speech to get through that you were a calculus. Was it advanced or just regular?
Advanced placement.
Advanced placement. You give fantastic speeches, especially when you talk about the interaction with your students. I like that a lot. And we'll see you at the morning club in a couple of weeks during school recess, right? Okay, so we're going to move right along. I usually do the opening speech so everybody can laugh at what silly things I'm doing, and then you can get more serious. My speech is entitled, Tottenville, the Town of Many Talents. And probably people are wondering why I brought Yetta the bear to the show today. Many years ago, I started having Toastmasters meetings at my house on the second Saturday of every month for anybody from any of the 6 clubs who missed a meeting and wanted to keep up with their speeches. The meetings were supposed to run from 6 to 10, and a few people left around midnight because we just have a lot of fun when we get together. Yetta's grandmother, if you want to call her, Muriel Rossell, lived in Tottenville, passed away a few years ago. I've known her many, many years. And I decided to have a teddy bear party. So everyone was invited to bring their favorite bear. I love bears. I have many, many bears. So I had the buffet in the dining room with extra bears in case some people just didn't believe in collecting bears. Some of you men who feel that you're too manly to have bears. So anyway, even Raleigh Coles from the Staten Island Advance at the time came, and she said, "My friend and I just came from Mass and we didn't bring a bear." And I said, "That's all right, please go and help yourself to a bear over in the corner." We had a fantastic time, and this is Yetta the bear. Carol Lynn Rossell Waugh, her name is now, and you can research her on Google. W-A-U-G-H. She's a very talented artist. Now, another artist that I liked was Edie Dow. Edie Dow lived on one of the streets in Tottenville. She learned by watching that old time, way back in the 50s, I guess, there was an artist who taught you how to paint. You watched him and you could paint along with him. I can't remember his name, and that's my fault. I should have Googled him. But I met Edie quite by chance. I was walking my dog down Chelsea Street, and she was showing some of her friends on the block some of her paintings. And they were on a lawn. The lawn sloped up, and I walked by, and I went over to talk to her, and we became fast friends. She used to let me come and sit in her house and watch her paint. And I really learned a lot from Edie Dow. Her next-door neighbor, the story went, was the stepmother of Truman Capote. I don't know if that's true or not. I did try to research that. Couldn't find it. And of course, Edie has long departed. We have writers in Tottenville. We have artists, we have singing performers, we have many different talents. But I just wanted you to know that every town has talent. And if you're a Toastmaster hearing this speech, or if you get a copy of the DVD and you look at it, You can make so many speeches at your clubs based on just what's in your own home. You don't have to do all this research. It's not necessary. If you look around your house, I gave a speech last month on going through the basic manual and all the things you could do for each one of them. If you have a favorite recipe, when we started our Staten Island Morning Club, we eventually decided to have everybody give us recipes, and we created, with the permission of Toastmasters International, a cookbook. We had a contest for naming it, and Julie Prowski named it Speaking with Good Taste. You know? I still have 2 of those books. But recipes, we even got in touch with the international president of Toastmasters that year, Bob Barnhill. I asked him to send us a recipe. He said, I only eat. Jana cooks. She said she'll send you a recipe. Jana Barnhill, a few years ago, was our international president. And I still value the fact that they thought enough of us in our little town of Staten Island to get involved with us. We raised money selling the book, and that got us started with our Staten Island Club in 1993. So folks, look at your house. I'm going to challenge my crew on an upcoming show. I'll give you something. I'm not going to tell you now, but I just got to hit with an idea. Since I have nothing planned for June, maybe we'll plan something. And you'll have to come in with a manual, and I will tell you something to make a speech about. And let's see how that flies. And if you don't like it, you can fire me. I won't go too far. But anyway, let's move on with the other show. Just look around. There are speeches everywhere. And that's my speech for today. So you can start evaluating. Right. Okay. The applause is not necessary, but it is appreciated. Toastmasters are supposed to applaud. Thank you so very much. Let's see. Sue Brooks, you're here already. Thank you for being where you're supposed to be, Sue. Sue is our public relations manager, and she will be highlighted on the second show next month as a Boy Scout, right? You're coming in full uniform, you said.
That's correct.
I was only a Boy Scout merit badge counselor. I didn't have to wear a uniform, so I'm interested in seeing what you're doing. You're doing speech number 3, get to the point from the basic manual, and you do have 6 minutes. And Rachel Weiss, who is our club growth director, and 2 years from now she'll be our district director and be the big shot from the whole district. But Rachel Weiss is part of our crew for quite a while, and we appreciate everything Rachel does, including the light box that she created, so I wouldn't have to carry that big other box. And your title today is Aspire to Inspire, and I'll let you tell the folks what the title is all about. Let's all applaud for Sue Brooks.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, studio audience, and our friends at home. Aspire to Inspire is the theme for our District 83 Spring Conference taking place May 20th and 21st at the Doubletree in Somerset, New Jersey. We're looking forward to this 1.5-day conference, Aspire to Inspire, for many reasons. We're so excited about this conference, which has 3 main components which I'm going to discuss with you today. In the morning, we're going to kick off with the business meeting. The business meeting is so important, especially in the springtime. You get to hear from the district leaders who inspire us year-round to do our very best and in turn to inspire others. The business meeting is important because not only do we hear from our district leaders, but in the springtime we will be electing our district officers for 2017-2018. Presidents and vice presidents education, as well as district officers, all have the opportunity to vote in the elections. The call for nominees is out right now, and we'll be conducting elections at the business meeting. Another wonderful thing that takes place during the spring conference, supporting the theme Aspire to Inspire, are the educational workshops. The call for presenters is currently open right now with a deadline of the end of the month, and auditions for the workshop presenters will take place on March 18th in Clark, New Jersey. We're hoping to have an enormous turnout for these educational presenters to discuss how they will support the theme Aspire to Inspire in any one of 3 tracks: club development, personal development, or professional development. We hope to have many, many people to choose from so we can select the very best 9 workshop presenters and backup. The other thing I'm looking forward to, which is an integral part of the conference, is the competitions. On Saturday, we're going to have the evaluation contest where we hear the winners from all 9 divisions in our district compete to provide the very best evaluation for our test speaker. On Sunday, we have the International Speech Contest, and the winner of that contest will go on to the semifinals in Vancouver, British Columbia in August. Why did we choose the Aspire to Inspire theme? We're all here to serve Toastmasters, to serve the community. We learn from others. We, in turn, aspire to help others. There's a mentor-mentee relationship that many of us have. Some of us have been in Toastmasters for many years. Others are relatively new. The mentor-mentee relationship with Aspire to Inspire takes place on many different levels. I could be mentored by somebody whom I respect, who I'm looking forward to learning from new skills, even though I've been a Toastmaster for over 16 years. In turn, I could be helping a new member who just joined the club last month, and I could be helping out with Toastmaster skills, leadership skills, or anything else that I could possibly offer the new person. Mentoring and aspiring to inspire isn't just a one-way street. You can have a mentoring relationship with the same person where you're the mentor in one opportunity, taking all you've known about Toastmasters and sharing it with them. They can have a lot of marketing skills and share what they know with you. So our conference theme, Aspire to Inspire, hopefully will generate a lot of great ideas, and we'll have a lot of excellent workshop presenters. Hopefully we'll get wonderful people coming out, and we'll have a great time. We'll have 2 workshops in the Saturday, and we'll have 1 workshop on Sunday. In addition to those 3 things that I talked about with the business meeting, the competitions, the workshop presenters, we have a wonderful banquet in the evening where we have a keynote speaker and we celebrate our success. I hope to see many of you out at the district conference where you can aspire to inspire. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Sue. Sue, while I'm thinking of it, could you please email me a proxy so I can get them signed by my club members? I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Our next speaker is Lucy Kahn, number 2 Distinguished Toastmaster. Lucy, and thank you for the extra treats in the kitchen. I'm sure everybody liked them. And you're doing speech number 9, Persuade with Power from the Basic Manual. You again have 6 minutes. Your evaluator is Paul Paradise. And your title is Never Say I Cannot. Let's all welcome Lucy Kahn.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and viewing audience. How many of you have heard the word never say you cannot? See you here? Everybody heard this because they always said that, yes, I cannot, but then people say never say you cannot. I heard this word from my father the first time when I was 13 years old. When I was 13 years old, my mother passed away, and I became the little mother for my 5 brothers and sisters. My father was so devastated, and he told me everything he wants to do, and he would tell me what to do. And I said, I cannot do this. I'm only 13. And he would say, yes, you can. Never say you cannot. So one day he gave me a bundle of dirty clothes. And I said, what should I do with this? And he said, I want you to wash these clothes. And I said, I don't think I can do it. And he said, yes, you can. So he told me, if you cannot, you just have to try. And he told me, he showed me how to wash the clothes. So I wind up knowing how to wash these clothes. So this is very good. He told me how to cook, and he told me what to do, and he told me that if you live by the sea, you have to learn how to fish. If you live by the mountain, you have to learn how to plant. And this comes every time he needs something, he's always calling my name. And I said, Dad, what happened to my 5 brothers and sisters? And he said, I forgot their names. I only remember your names. So I'm always the one doing all the things. But then he told me that since I know those things, I can also teach my brothers and sisters. So now I learned another skill, delegating. So when my brothers and sisters said, I cannot, then I always said, don't say anything. You never say you cannot. And all my brothers and sisters now always remember this word, never say you cannot. Yes, you can. So finally, after so many years, I told my father that I think I can do anything. He said, yes, you can do anything if you just put your mind on. So when I decided to come to America, everybody said, you cannot do it. I said, why not? And that's the reason why I came, because I believe that you cannot, if you do something, you can. So what happened now, I remember my father, and I always thank my father for all the things he told me. And I hope that everybody learn that you can do whatever you want. And if you said that you remember you cannot do anything, just remember you can. So I hope everybody knows that to do things, you have to learn that don't let anybody turn you down, and make sure that everybody tell you that yes, you can. And remember that to make sure that everybody has to learn and have a confidence with you, and make sure that you do the things that you think you can. And I hope remember, never say you cannot. Thank you.
One quick question. Was your dad alive when you joined the United States Air Force?
Yes.
What did he have to say about that? That you can do that?
Yes, he said you can do that.
What was his reaction? Because I see you have a couple of minutes.
Well, his reaction said like, oh my God, you want to be in the Air Force? And I said, yes. He said, yes, you can. As long as you want to do it, you can do it.
And you did it, and you served your country.
It.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, Lucy. Our next speaker is Paul Scharf, past district governor. And Paul, you also served. What was your war, the Civil War?
Spanish-American,
I thought it was one of those two.
but I
Yes,
can't
Paul.
speak Spanish, so don't try.
See and no, you can get by on that. All right, Paul, you're doing speech number 3 from the basic manual. Get to the point. You have 6 minutes. Isaac Ovinovich is being allowed out of the control room to be your evaluator. And I don't understand your title at all. I went to Texas because of a TV. Let's all listen to Paul Scharf.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests in the audience. Yes, I did go to Texas because of a TV. Actually, the TV should have said telephone, but I'll get to that in a few minutes. Those of you that know me know that I was a member of New York Life Insurance Company for about 32 years, from 1970 to 2002. In 1992, the company decided to, or planned on opening up a major office in Texas. And they started out needing 7 specialists, for lack of a better word. And I was picked to go down there as the competition individual. I would compare our products to other products. I would do illustrations, so on and so forth. That was what was supposed to be my job. They said, you'll go down for 3 years. Initially, I said, I'm not going. Can't go. My wife is here. My kids are here in Jersey. And I just didn't want to leave them for 3 years. The kids were still young in school. And they really wanted me to go. So they said, well, you know, what we'll do is we'll set up once a month a meeting in the home office in New York on a Friday or a Monday. And you'll be invited to it. A free weekend at home. I fly down on Friday, I have the weekend with the family, and I come back to Texas on Monday. Vice versa, whenever the meeting was. I said, yeah, that still doesn't excite me. They said, they usually give you 6 months of free rent and then you have to pay. I said, we'll pay your rent for a year. Nah, didn't excite me. They reminded me that, you know, your wife is a teacher and we'll get her down there on the summer. We come down in the summer, June, July, August, and then go back. In December, we can get her down for a week or 10 days. We'll take care of that for you. We really want you to go down. I said, well, that's sounding pretty good, but I'm just not sure. They came back and said, we're going to do something really special. We're going to put a telephone in your apartment in Texas. We're going to put another telephone in your home. You know, big deal. I've already got telephones in Texas and I've got a telephone at home. Why that? This is a special telephone. What do you mean it's a special telephone? I want people to remember we're talking about 1992. This telephone is going to have a screen. It's going to have a screen in Texas. It's going to have a screen in New Jersey. Okay? So, when you call on this telephone in 1992 and you're waving to those on the other end and they're waving at you, it looks like this. Right? Because in 1992 you were getting, I think it was something like 30 frames a second. Anyway, that sort of, with the rest of the package, got me to say, okay, I'm going to Texas because of the telephone, the TV on the telephone. The problem, very minor, when I got down there and the wife was here, we started talking. The first couple of months was great. The family was there, friends were there, everybody was waving, and it was really great. That lasted about 6 months. After that, it was, hello, how are you? Goodbye, I'll see you next week. It sort of disappeared. The best thing that happened, this TV on the telephone really seemed great to start with. The end result, after 6 months, it was just picking up the phone and talking like you would. But because of the TV and the telephone, I got to Texas for 3 years. My wife was down there half a dozen times. A lot of free flying back and forth. Texas, because of a TV. Madam Toastmaster.
I'm surprised you didn't hold out for the car. That would have been the next thing, the car.
Right.
Thank you very much, Paul. I've known you so long and I never heard that story. Very nice. Okay. I'm sure you do. All right. Joan?
How about a car with a TV and a telephone in it?
I don't know. At his age, he probably would watch TV and go off the road. What can you do? Anyway, Joan, our final speaker for today. Joan is a DTM 3 times, and you are doing speech number 5 in one of the advanced manuals, Inform, speaking to inform, the abstract concept. A lot of people are confused because they don't know what abstract concept means, and it just means it's something that we all know what it is, but you can't hold it in your hand, like love, energy, things like that. So, you have 6 minutes, and Kevin Thompson, I hope you realize that I gave you a comedian to take care of your speech today.
We all love him.
And speak for yourself, he's married. And your title is Valentine because we're filming on February 4th, and this will be showing during Valentine's weekend. So let's all welcome Joan Maurizio with Valentine. Joan?
First, fellow Toastmasters and Madam Host and co-host, I would like to say thank you to Paul because he's the one that gave me the idea for the speech. And what I did was I wrote all the words out that make up the acronym for Valentine. And it was his idea. I would not have thought of this. So I want to thank Paul for that idea about spelling it out. So The word Valentine is value, all, loving experiences. I like for you to keep that in mind when I explain my speech later. Now that it's nicely existing. And I do admit, it does not make such great sense, as a matter of fact. I can leave this up there, but I have a reason for it. The value is that it doesn't have to be man and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend. The value is in any possible thing that can go right in that day that will put some kind of love into your mind. Love can be something nice. It could be very likable. Doesn't have to be love. So value. Value all. That's everything that happens in your life. Everything that's good. A lot of times people will see just the negative, the negative, the negative. We had a lady that explained journalism. And what happened was, I was telling her at the end of her speech, at the end of the meeting, I always used to tell people, write a journal and put something in there that's very good every day. And then when you're having a lousy day, like I've been having a few times this past year now, look back at the journal and smile. And that's all inclusive. The loving experiences do go together. And that's because you can have a very hateful experience. There's been a lot of hate going around the world lately. So the loving experience, sorry folks. The loving experience is that it's something that happens to you during the day. It could be somebody that's walking their dog and then somebody else is walking the other way and the dog meets the dog and their tails start to wag. That's a loving experience. It doesn't even have to include me. It could be somebody else. It could be somebody whose child gets scared of a dog and lovingly picks that child up and then says to that child, don't worry, the doggy's on a leash. Loving experience, now that it's lovingly existing, that's in the moment. What happens if you should remember it when you go home, sure, put it in the journal, and that will be a moment forever to be remembered. So that's what I would like to bring out about Valentine's Day. It does not have to be all about romance or sex. It could be about your family. It could be about the pets in the family. It could be about the photographs in the album about the family in the past. You get to be my age, or you get to be 70, 80, 90. Sometimes everything you love is gone. Guess what you have left, folks? You have those loving memories. And I want to tell you, this is a poem I learned long ago. I don't know who made it, but it makes so much sense. Yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery. Today is the present, and that's why it's called a gift from God. Fellow Toastmasters.
Very much, John. Thank you very, very much. Very emotional. And see how we piggyback from one speaker to another, because she did an acronym last time, and Paul said, well, you could have done, so she picked up on it right away. Very good thinking, Joe, and I'm sure Paul is giving himself kudos back there. See, she listened. Okay, now we go into the evaluations. And remember, folks, when you see the red light, get ready to change. Okay, my speech, Ken, you were my evaluator. Would you please do your job now?
Yes, thank you, Fran. I, of course, evaluated Fran's speech, Tottenville, the town of many talents. In fact, at our last meeting here, I did name that tune, and I opened it by saying one of the things about playing an instrument, you don't get to show off your talent very often. So that was ironic, because Fran's speech was about hidden talents. So
Where do you think I got the idea from?
Oh, okay.
I piggybacked from you this time.
Oh, okay. And of course, it was appropriate. Like, I guess technically it wasn't even a part of your speech when you spoke about Gregory Perillo, because, of course, he's a man of many talents as well, a tremendous talent, to say the least. And as far as the visual aids, which was the main thing I was looking for, of course, beyond the photographs we saw on the screen, of course, we see the bear prominently displayed at the front of this table. And the overall message was very clear. And the subliminal message, which I liked, was to get the viewers to join Toastmasters, because if you join, you could always show off your talents, as I did at the last meeting as well. And you're always good in the various areas, body language, gestures, research. Well, it was about your life experience, so you didn't have to do much direct research. And as far as a suggestion for improvement, this is something Kevin would say. Actually, the criticism goes with the bear. I mean, she didn't vary her facial expressions at all. She didn't use any gestures at all. So the bear really was the downside of the speech, but you did have the right ingredients to make a successful speech.
And your humor is improving by the minute here. Thank you very much, Ken. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yes. And Rachel, oh, you're there already. I love it when people are where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be. And you're evaluating our Air Force retiree, I guess.
No, I'm Sue Brooks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, see, I took my glasses off, couldn't see it. Yes, would you tell? I know you're going to be at the conference because you're running for the next line up the line, so, and we'll be there with our proxies. And if you're good today, maybe we'll vote for you.
Okay.
Rachel Weiss, folks. Rachel Weiss, our Club Growth Director.
Thank you, Fran. Sue, what a wonderful way of introducing Aspire to Inspire. The whole process, you took us from the beginning to the end, giving us a vignette of each of the different things that are going on. You had a very good flow, and I was inspired by how you came up with the topic and how you explained the theme for the conference. What I would have liked to have seen is the logo for the conference. Maybe that's something that could be incorporated in the future. All through, you did a very good job of giving us progression from stage left to stage right. At the end, there was a little bit of confusion because you said 2 days, and that would be Saturday and then Sunday. I would have preferred you to have continued with 2 days, Saturday and then Sunday. That way we have that linear connection. Overall, you did a great job. I'm inspired to be at the conference, even if I didn't have to be there. And I look forward to the workshops because I know the last 3 conferences we had, there were over 20 applying where we selected the top 9. And so it's something that everyone aspires to be part of and to do their best. And we're there to give you the best that we can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Okay, and now Paul Paradise will be evaluating Lucy's speech. Paul,
you.
did you ever serve?
What's that?
Were you ever in the service?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, well then you can tell us what you thought about Lucy's speech, okay?
Okay, I'll be happy to.
Thank you.
Lucy's speech was on Persuading with Power was never say I cannot. And it was a very enjoyable speech. And she started out, it was a speech about speaking with personal experience. And she starts out, basically it starts at age 13 when her mother passes away. And she basically has to take over for her mother. And it starts out when she has to start doing the wash. It progresses from there when she has to learn how to fish. And she starts to learn how to cook. And no is not an option. She has to learn how to do it. At one point there, she says to her father, well, what about my brothers and sisters? And her father answers, says, you have to learn how to delegate. In essence, she has to learn how to teach her brothers and sisters how to do these tasks. And so the family learns how to survive. And she learns the value of this later on when she comes to the United States, because no is not an option. She has to learn how to survive in the United States. And her speech was a little bit short, and here's where I find where her speech could have improved, because she could have learned how some of these early experiences could have helped her in the United States. I'm sure there were certain challenges when she came here, and she could have elaborated a little bit, some challenges that she had when she came to this country. But overall, I found it was a very, very enjoyable speech, and I learned quite a bit from it. Fellow Toastmasters, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you. Now, they just shaped high. Folks, please. Isaac, would you please evaluate Paul Sharp's speech? This is Isaac Govinovich.
Madam General Evaluator, my fellow Toastmasters, and of course viewing audience. Paul is a very accomplished speaker, and it's not easy to find something for improvement, so I'm not going to try it. What I'm going to say is that I liked Paul's speech because it was a story. I'm a sucker for a good story. And I personally think that the best way to deliver a speech, the best way to convey the information, the best way to make a point is by telling a story. And that's exactly what Paul did. Very nice, life story, personal story. So it's unique. It's his story. He lived through it. Okay? And I actually got a little bit of a history lesson as well. Because I do remember these phones, the cell phones and the landlines, but I didn't know they had a TV at the time. So for me, it was some kind of a new information. And then I absolutely love the point that everything new is exciting, and then it kind of becomes a routine. And then it's just a normal phone. Okay, yeah, I'll see you next time. How are you? Good, good. Glad to hear it. And it's like, well, it's a life, okay? New things are all exciting, and then yeah, it's normal, it's everyday life, it's routine. It's still nice to have it. Okay, once in a while people get together, oh yeah, and they wave, and then it's like a normal life. But like I said again, there was a story, there was a timeline, there was a piece of life, piece of history, and that's what makes a speech great, and that's why I love it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isaac. And now we'll ask Kevin to come up and evaluate Joan's speech. Kevin Thompson, DTM. Whenever you're ready.
Okerson, DTM, and we can't say how many times. I don't have enough fingers and toes, I don't believe.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, well, good. Fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, and of course, our studio audience at home. I always enjoy the opportunity to stand here and evaluate my friend. Why? Because she is the master calligrapher. She had this whole idea, and what I liked is that she gave kudos to Paul for coming up with the idea. And she rolled this back so that you could see each word. The problem was that it was on a white background. So the words you could see a little bit, but it ended up getting washed out. And so then we tried to get her to hold it up like this, but as you could see on the TV, it's very hard to get all of the words to show at the same time. So it ended up being kind of washed out, and that took away, I think, from the value, that's the first word, the value, that she was trying to convey. And she was trying to get all, which is the second word, of us to connect with that speech. And she was trying to do, which is the third word, it in a loving way. And she wanted us to have, which is the fourth word, the experience of her providing us with this speech. And she did it now, and so I'm going to tell her that, which is the next word, it's, which is the fourth word, nicely, fifth word, existing. And I think that she really did a good job of developing the acronym, and I love the concept, and it was an abstract concept, and she didn't go with the regular love aspect in the arrow sense of the word for Valentine, but she wanted to add an opportunity for you to think of it in a different way. So I think that she achieved that, and if I had any other recommendation, that would be for her to have written, and it's a shame that you can't see her calligraphy, because, I mean, it's beautiful. Okay, so I got experience on it. It's beautiful, but you really didn't get the opportunity to have the full value of what she was doing. And I think that if she put it on a different background, you would have loved it. I loved it. Thank you so much.
Kevin, stand there for just 1 minute. A couple of years ago, I said, when you're giving me directions, I can't see you because you're always in dark clothes. So for Christmas, you gave me the pair of white gloves. No, Rachel did, based on the fact that I said that I couldn't see you over there with all the dark clothes. Now, I expect you now to buy Joan a wide-tip black marker, so the next time she does something like that, she will have wide lines, and you'll be able to read it, and I'll make sure you are her evaluator. Isn't that clever of you?
Well, you know, what's interesting is the fact that the background, the marker was fine. It's the background that's washed out because of the studio lights. And the people, I know you can't see it, but if you look at the monitor, you'll
I
be able
know.
to see it's very difficult to see all the words. And then when you pull it out like this, it almost completely washes out.
Well, now she's got the other side to do another acronym.
They can't see it anyway.
But she's got the other side for another acronym, Kevin.
But it was a great speech, Joan. Thank you.
It was fun. Thank you very much, Kevin. Now we go into the dreaded table topics. Okay, listen up, everyone. Table topic time. Our first table topic question goes to you, Ken. I have to hide it over here. As a teacher, do you ever wonder what your students will tell their children about you? Ken Raftery.
Thank you, Fran.
Isn't that a nice question?
Yeah, it's not so easy. Well, hopefully they won't say he was the guy who failed me. And hopefully they won't say, I don't even remember that guy. But I guess some people do remember me. I sometimes think, to be honest with you, teaching is maybe the worst profession out there because it is a lot of work if you really want to do the job well. But the flip side of it is there's probably not many jobs where people could really remember you in such a fond way. Once in a while I do get a nice email where someone says something. And you never know, like calculus is the type of subject that someone might go into engineering and really use the knowledge from that course. Some of my students take really high level things, calculus 2, differential equations, linear algebra. So it's nice to think that they might have learned some of the basics from me. So, but you know, you can only do so much. You try to be nice during class, and maybe you can't be everyone's hero, but for the ones who do try hard, they probably can get a lot from the class.
Yeah, well, we've been impressed with what you've been showing us that you do with all the modern technology that you take to the classroom. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I've known you since you were a kid.
Ah.
Remember your first meeting when you walked in green. Okay. Rachel, you're back again. Hello,
I'm back
Rachel.
again.
Well, we have you on a couple of times because you won't be here with us next month. All right, Rachel, what are your hidden talents? Rachel Weiss.
Well, Fran, I guess one of my hidden talents is I loved math. And my
Really?
math teacher was my idol. I learned calculus and differential equations when I was in high school. I was one of those AP students. And yes, I did go on to become an engineer. One of my hidden talents probably is the fact that math and music go very well hand in hand together because of the progressions. And I was part of the New York State Music Association, NISMA, and I was part of the choir or the chorus for the state. And I had to go up, I grew up on Long Island in Nassau County, so I had to first accomplish my town, and I grew up in Valley Stream, and there were 3 high schools. Then we had to go through at the county level and was part of the county chorus, and then to get to the state level. It was a challenge. Music is still a very crucial part of my life, and I love to hear all the different vocal varieties, a cappella, as well as some of those things coming from long ago, the Baroque eras. And that, I think, is the hidden talent that doesn't get shown at Toastmasters.
You can sing anytime we have a show and there's some time, you can sing. Do you still like to sing?
I still like to sing.
So why don't you plan a speech for one of the upcoming shows and show your talents? Or when you're the legit, whatever the new term is, whatever, have
The
a fun.
cutie.
What? Yeah,
Program quality director. The cutie.
program quality director. I'll get used to them after 5 years. But maybe you ought to have the talent night and instead of Kevin and me dancing.
Which
You
I
could-
was there for. That was a great time.
I'm glad Sue Brooks had a phone camera and took a picture, or else nobody would have believed what we did. Because I asked him to come up to my hotel room and we'd play in the hall, and he never did. And when 3 months later, when she said, "But I have it on my drive," and then now I have the drive.
Wow.
We'll have to play that one of these days. All right, thank you very much, Rachel.
You're welcome.
You never cease to amaze me, I'll tell you. All right, Paul Paradise. Okay, Paul.
Hi, Fran.
I'm getting to know you, so I thought this was a fun question for you.
Okay.
All right, Paul. Paul, do you have any pet peeves? Something that really irks you? Paul Paradise.
Okay, thanks. Well, I'm starting to develop some, possibly with the new president. I think I'm. Well, I'm probably a lifelong Democrat, and I'm starting to develop some peeves with the current president. I'm not in favor of his policy of excluding, Muslims from coming into the country. I'm not in favor of his trade policies. I'm starting to wonder where we're going in terms of the country. But I try to remain hopeful. Perhaps it'll all winnow out in the terms of the wash. So I keep watching the television and keep praying for the country. I work in government, and I try to remain hopeful and hope everything will work out for the best. I guess I'm the same boat with most of everyone else. I guess that would pretty much try to answer everyone's questions.
All right. Thank you very much. For
Okay,
your
thank
thoughts,
you.
Paul. Thank you. Now, Paul Scharf. Did you get a chance to take your jacket off and put it back on again?
I certainly did.
I don't know why he doesn't keep it on. It's freezing in here. Okay, I always know when Paul wants to come up because he always puts his coat on. All right, Paul. Oh, this is nice.
Uh-oh.
I'll have to ask Abe later. How would you describe yourself to someone you're meeting for the first time? Paul Scharf.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and audience, how would I describe myself? I am a wonderful, beautiful, handsome, exquisitely talented speaker. I have to be. I've been in it 24 years. I can't be making too many more mistakes. I am a very delightful individual. I am open in more ways than one. Open up the jacket. I really am a pretty funny guy, as you can probably tell, because I thought that was a funny question to ask an individual to tell everybody how good they are. I'm not going to say I'm bad. I'm not going to say I lie, cheat, steal. I might, but you wouldn't know it because I wouldn't tell you. Thanks a lot. Because I wouldn't tell you. So what I have to say is I'm really a great guy. I'm a lot of fun to be around. I usually start conversations. I always end up ending them because everybody else leaves and I'm left talking by myself. So that doesn't help much. But I try to tell people that I'm a nice guy. You know, hang around me and you'll learn that I'm really a pretty good individual. Madam Toastmaster, do you believe that I am a nice individual?
I also think you're a very humble man because I remember the conference. No, seriously, folks, I've known Paul a long time. And first time you hated me.
Yes.
And then you sat down at my table at one of the conferences and you said, could I ask you a question? I figured, what's he going to come up with now? He said, do you think I have a chance of running for district governor down the line? And I said, yes, you can. And look at, you brought us into the new district, and I give you a lot of credit for it.
Thank you very much.
Of course, your wife was the better part of the couple. Yeah. I mean, without Sandy, you would have been nothing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Thank you, Paul. All right, I'm going to ask Abe. Abe, are you convinced? Ah, there you are, Abe. This is Abe Aruk, who is a guest today for the first time. I guess you emailed me about a week or so ago because I wrote a letter to your new business in Tottenville, said I'm interested, and got to email each other, and I met you for the first time today. And you're a very brave man. Please stop at Joan. She has something for you at the end of the meeting. Okay. I give it to all first-timers.
All right.
All right. Abe, where's your question? Because I also had one down here for your wife. But Abe, when and why did you decide to become a realtor? Abe Aruk.
Thank you. That's a very interesting question. In my previous career, I've been doing real estate for about 15 years, on and off, and I had a job, full-time job, working in Manhattan. And as the industry I was in was driven off the stock market, I did real estate part-time. About 2 years ago, I got into real estate full-time because I left my last job. So I found working with people, interacting with clients on a regular basis, helping them with the largest purchase of their life, which could be the largest purchase of their life, was very fulfilling. So leaving my other job, which was a corporate every day-to-day job, and coming into this industry was very nice.
Thank you very much, Abe. While I have you here, and I hope you join Toastmasters because we can help you get rid of those ahs.
Ahs.
Oh, we count them at every meeting except on the TV show. But you will lose them in about 6 months. You will stop using ahs all the time.
Sounds like
But thank you for joining us. And remember, I gave Joan something to give you.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you. And we'll talk again. I know you have to
nice.
leave, so we'll talk again another time. Nice to meet you. I'm looking forward to meeting your wife. All right, folks, we do have a few minutes. So let's have 2 people over on the side. Who's first? Kevin?
You know I'm going to be first.
Well, if you're not first, Paul usually is, whoever trips each other first.
He was just here.
That's right. Please, we're wasting time. Give Ken an initial in the alphabet, and he will find...
P as in Paul.
All right, folks, the show is still running. Pick any word in the letter P. This way I don't have to work during this part. Just pick a word.
You're just
Ken.
doing it because you can't
I know
see
I
it.
probably shouldn't do this, but presidents.
Go ahead. Go with that, Kevin.
Fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, Ken and Madam Fran, presidents. I think, my dear Fran, how about that?
That's a little better.
Presidents. I think that it's a precedent that Fran does not have the agenda set up so that there were additional people already established to come up to do additional table topics question. So, but she's establishing a precedence now, not necessarily asking for people from the audience to come up, but also to ask those people who weren't necessarily scheduled to actually come and speak. The advantage is that everyone that's in the audience, I know you can't see them, but everyone in the studio audience is already on the listing in the booth so that they can put their name up for Fran. So we're not going to have anybody that shows up whose name is not available on the TV screen. So,
Look, I hope my son got Abe's name.
oh no, he did. We were taking care of that. So, that is not a problem. That's what we do in the background. So it's not that you establish precedents in doing that.
Well,
But
you picked it up wrong. You said you're talking about precedent. He wanted you to talk about president. Which
Oh,
was
no,
the
no.
next word. No. You've had your time.
no, I realized that. That's exactly what I did.
Okay, Kevin. Thank you for. Okay,
That was a segue, I guess.
that was a segue. Yeah. All right. Here's Joan. Go ahead. What letter, Joan?
Annie, just point your finger at something.
Okay, I saw
Fran says, don't point at her, don't point at holy pictures.
How about-
I'll always remember
What's
that.
the clock? Are you
fast
okay?
foods.
Fast foods. I've got some fast foods in my pocket, folks. I had made a promise that after my Valentine's speech, I was going to leave this on the lectern for the next person. The next person sat in his seat and gave his evaluation. Rachel, you were the next person. Between the two of yous, the two of yous, did you hear that, Brooklynese?
On TV.
Between the two, and that's why I joined Toastmasters more than 20 years ago. This is for that person. I don't know who it is. It's not me. I was not the next person. I was the person giving it away. But anyway, I wish you all love, not so much in tiny conversation. And this is how you segue. You get off the beaten path. You think of something else you'd rather talk about, and I'd rather talk about the little jiggle jiggle I heard in my pocket when I went back to my seat. And I said, Joan, you blew it. And that's why I'm still in Toastmasters after 20 years, because I still can't get it right. So here I am, folks. At least I'm not tapping my fingers on this anymore, and I've kind of gotten away from knocking over the piece coming up here. But anyway, we work these things out of our system over the years, and hopefully in about another 20 years I'll be an expert at this. Ha.
Good. And Ken will take the candy out of your pocket later on.
Oh, here it is, right here.
Well, he's
Okay.
not going there. All right, thank you, Joan. Ken, it's almost time for us to wrap up. So let me ask you a question that's interesting to me. You've been teaching how many years?
This is my 22nd.
All right, 22nd. How do the students, how have they differed between 22 years ago and now? Very quickly, just give us an idea.
The one thing about teenagers in general, I said this at a meeting the other day. When I was in 8th grade, there was a young lady. If there was 5 minutes extra in class time, the teacher said free. She'd take out a book and read. Nowadays, you have 5 seconds free. They take out phones. So that's the main difference I see with teenagers nowadays.
Okay.
It's like a battle between the phone and everything else.
All right. I'm watching. I'm watching. Folks, in closing, I just want to remind everyone who's listening that we are on every Saturday at 7 p.m. on Channel 34, Time Warner and Fios. But you can see us about 6 or 8 times during the month. I watch it after the news at night. I watch it in the morning. I watch it all over. Next month, very important, we're celebrating Gregory Perillo's 90th birthday on our first show. In the afternoon, we're going to have a Boy Scout roundtable or whatever. So safe trip home. Thank you for joining us at Toastmasters in the Community. Bye now.